And we are on. Zane, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Louise. Hey, everyone. Welcome on our late Wednesday afternoon, evening. I don't know, I have darkness outside here in Riga, Latvia, on the Startup Wise Guys panel to talk about a topic we already tackled a little bit before, which is crowdfunding. And this time we wanted to look at the startup perspective. How to go about it, when to do it, if to do it at all, what to pay attention to. And I'm super happy today to be joined by three awesome founders from also different geographies and different experiences in crowdfunding. I will let you guys also introduce yourself a bit longer, but just to give everybody a brief overview. So whom do we have here? We have tonight Marek from EstateGuru, which is our alumni portfolio company, and they did quite an epic round on Cedars, right? Recently. Well, yes. Not so recently, right? and he's actually super happy. He joined us. They were just moving EstateGuru to Finland. So a new market opening, and big thumbs up for being able to join us here tonight. And EstateGuru is a fintech company, but I'll let you talk about it more in a sec. Then we have Raffaele calling in from Milano in Italy. I was hoping to see his colleague, actually the founder of the company, to have more girl power on this one. But Raffaele, super welcome here, and I think he's going to give us a bit different perspective, coming both geographically from different markets, but also tackling educational field, which in difference to Marek, who's from fintech, I think we might look into some differences. How does that look like? And last but not least, we have Martin here from CostPocket. He's Estonian, but he's actually he has done a sneaky move, and he's calling in from our Startup Wise Guys Riga office, so from Latvia, and they did a recent round on Funderbeam platform, and we'll be able to kind of share also a bit of, I assume, the differences between regular fundraising and crowdfunding, right? Cool. With this super, I'm out of breath already just introducing you for our viewers. You can interact with our panelists today through comments on our social media. So under these live videos, if you are writing your comments, we will get them here in our little studio, home studio, and we'll be able to answer them. So get them going. We will start by dropping some questions from ourselves and from what we have heard, but afterwards we'll be super happy to also answer some questions from the audience. Okay, let's kick off the introductions. Guys, I would want you to go one by one and tell a little bit what your company does and what was your crowdfunding campaign. So how much were you raising, through which platform, and how did it go? Let's start with Marek. I see he's unmuted already.
Thank you, Zana, for a nice introduction. So yeah, my name is Marek. I'm the co-founder and CEO of EstateGuru, and we've been up and running now for 7 years. And our business model is that we're building the pan-European marketplace for property-backed loans. And we were part of the Startup Wise Guys batch. I think it was in 2015. Which gave quite a lot, changed my mentality being a real estate developer and investor before, and basically I didn't know too much of the building the company. So big compliments of changing a little bit in my head. So far EstateGuru has been growing quite nicely. On average, we've been growing about 80% per year. Our volumes since this launch. And so we have now more than 61,000 retail investors on our platform, and we are this month we are earning about maybe 450,000-500,000 of revenue, facilitating 15 million of real estate backed loans in different geographies. We have now 48 people. In different countries. We have offices: Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Finland, and just about to open an office in Berlin. Country manager is already hired, and we have a tech team in Armenia, Yerevan. So it's pretty international crowd from 9 different nationalities.
You sound like Wise Guys team. I think the setup is very similar and the spread geographically as well. And if I recall correctly, also the number that you were fundraising on the crowdfunding is something that you can like throw at people and say, boom.
Yeah. So we actually started to prepare our crowdfunding round already in the end of the last year, but then we were ready to launch just before COVID started, and then we were like in a situation at what should we do? We simultaneously talked to the VCs also, but as everything was kind of tied down, all the activities of VCs in March, April, and then we still decided that we should still do the crowdfunding round. So we went to Cedars. I think it was in April, and we set the minimum target to 350,000, and in the end we were quite lucky to raise almost 1 million. And during these very hectic times, we were really happy with the result.
And when did you start the campaign and when it finished?
I think it was up and running around a month. So it was from April to May, if I remember correctly, and then it was still some legal works to do all the documentation with different counterparties. We had already a VC Speed Invest already was in from 2018, so we had to align with all the different counterparties the legal aspects of the fundraising.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And for those listening, so that was Cedars platform, and afterwards I will ask you about kind of let's make a competition between the platforms. what works how. Rafael, you could go next with introduction and a little bit about what LiveFeed does.
Yeah, thank you, Zane. Hello to everyone. I'm Rafael. I'm the co-founder and CEO of LiveFeed. And LiveFeed is a training digital platform that transforms the life experience into an opportunity to develop soft skills, to improve well-being, and of course to improve the energy. So it's a B2B solution, but also with a perspective of B2C solution, so direct to the consumer. We established the company in 2015. We started the crowdfunding campaign in 2018, so 2 years ago, with an up-running period of 2 months. So from February to April 2018, we raised 450,000 euros, and it was an opportunity for us in terms of diversify our overall seed stage. So the overall raising capital included also business angel and impact fund, but the crowdfunding part was absolutely important in the overall process. We collect more than 100 shareholders. The main part of shareholders has not voting rights, but it was absolutely important in terms of the community and spread out in terms of the ambassador of our solution in the education sector.
And which was the platform? Was it CrowdFundMe that you were
we
using?
use Mama Crowd.
Yeah, I've heard that in Italy, equity crowdfunding is super popular. And actually, there's a lot going on. And I was surprised because our experience at Startup Wise Guys, we are right now we are on CrowdFundMe platform fundraising right now ourselves for the Italian fund. But we also had experience in the Estonian platform was it? Oh my God. In 2016, long time ago. So we were using Funderbeam platform, and actually that brings me nicely to Martin, as that was also the platform that you were using for your crowdfunding campaign for CostPocket, right?
Yes. So I am Martin from CostPocket, and we help companies to send their receipts and invoices into accounting. And so we have an easy app for that, and you can send them in with an email. We are servicing companies in 4 countries: Estonia, Latvia, Finland, and also as a new thing, Poland. There's about 2,400 companies using us every month, and 1,900 of them are paying customers. And we raised our practically the campaign was up in February or May. Before that, it was 1 or 2 months when we prepared for it. We actually raised the capital within 1 day, and then after that it took us 2 or 3 months for waiting for the money and also getting a number of legal documents done.
Cool. And what was the total amount?
180K.
Great. And the audience is warming up, and we only have greetings to Marek and EstateGuru for moving to Berlin from Goda. Hi, Goda. Then actually, I wanted to drop the first question and ask why did you go into crowdfunding? What was kind of the reasoning? Rafael, you kind of already touched upon it. Do you want to kind of talk a little bit more?
From my side, the decision was towards the idea to diversify the raising capital. So it was one of the opportunity to raise the capital in the seed stage, so crowdfunding, but instead and integrated with the business angels part and the impact fund. So in our case, it was absolutely important in order to create a complex but challenging operation in terms to raise the total amount of 1,015,000 of the overall process. So in terms of the short answer was the diversification of the raising.
Marek, Martin, on your side?
In our case, as our loans have been primarily funded by our retail investors, people who invest maybe from 50 euros to a couple of thousand euros, and we just wanted to give them also the opportunity to participate in our equity story. And basically, it's a good way to broaden your investor base and to really have a good marketing. And at Cedars, I think there were more than 150,000 investors registered, and we just wanted to take our brand out there and talk about what we do, and also get more clients, new clients to our platform. So it's very much and now we received about 1,000 new shareholders, and they are, the structure of Cedars is also quite nice. They are all in under Cedars nominee structure in our cap table. So in this sense, it all kind of fit together, and the idea was to have it one part of our bigger round. We now aim to raise 3 to 5 million A round. So basically, we are on it at the moment, and it was kind of the part of our A round fundraising.
Mm-hmm. And did this assumption that you might also attract kind of investors for the loan part of your business, did it pay off? Did you see any kind of changes in that aspect?
Yeah, we got new investors. I don't have the exact number how many of them started to invest, but it was a combination actually of our existing investor base, and basically we started the marketing. Like a pre-live phase, we actually sent out a private link only to our investor base. So once it went live, it was already significant amount was already funded. So and then it attracted new investors. So it's kind of pretty well thought through how from the Cedar side how to get the best attraction.
Martin?
Well, we used Thunderbeam, we took money from over there because no one else would give us money. And I think that's the main thing is if I think about if I could go back in time, then when usually when VCs don't give you money, then they don't do it because your business is too small, and when angels don't give you money, they don't do it because you're asking for too much money. So the first idea is just try to raise less capital before you try to go to crowdfunding. Try to less capital. We actually did it. We did 10K rounds, 20K rounds, even 7K rounds, because this crowdfunding is it's hard. Like you have to the idea is that you have to prepare for it, and then you're going to be doing this campaign over there, and then it's like, it's week 2 or week 3, and you're like Bernie Sanders there going like, I am once again coming to ask for your investment. So it's like a tough thing to do. It's one of the hardest ones. Like usually I'd guess like people would prefer having less investors. But if you think about what are like the good things about it, then like one of the things is easy syndication, and this is also like with angels. Actually, like this is most of the Estonian angels are actually on Funderbeam platform, and it's much more easier to syndicate with them. Then you will not, all the terms are there. You don't have this situation where the fourth investor comes with his special demand that there has to be a special 100% quorum. Obviously, it has PR and marketing support. And for us, but for us, it was interesting. Actually, we found the idea of that actually in the Funderbeam platform, you can operate as a public company. And we kind of really liked the idea actually of that like we could, as we've been like historically good at reporting, we said like, hey, we'd like to try it because where in life will actually somebody give us like this possibility to lead a public company.
You're one of the rare people that I hear that they are good at like reporting, but it's true, yeah, that there is this kind of internal activity. And I like the part that you kind of touched based on the platform and kind of what it provides and it doesn't. And given that all of you have done very kind of in different platforms, I was wondering kind of what was your choice? Did you even kind of select and thought of different ones, or you kind of went very straight to the one that you ended up choosing? And maybe what were some kind of positive like advantages and downsides of what you experienced? Martin, you maybe want to go on the loop that you already started about this kind of reporting part.
So I think like there are like easier and harder ways. Like in Estonia, we have like Funderbeam and Fundwise. Like Funderbeam is if you're like a masochist like us and you want to get like the full maximum stuff of everything, then this is the harder one. They really like, historically, you can go to startup events and like pitch whatever you are pitching to these people. But this was like actually the very first time when like everything I wrote down somewhere, 4 people actually made sure that this data is correct. There is very strong due diligence because also like they don't want to give their investors like bad deals. So that's why. Like Fundwise is simpler. There you don't have to have the lead investor doesn't need to have like this like they don't need to make the initial investment to start the campaign. So that's a plus and a minus. The plus is it's easier to get in, but the minus is that you have like less momentum in the beginning.
Cool. Whoever wants to continue on the choice of platforms.
So no, for us it was not very hard because we actually we compared 2 platforms, Seedrs and Crowdcube, because these were the 2 platforms where historically fintechs have been successful, raising quite big amounts of money in some neobanks, and I think even Revolut at one point raised at I think it was Crowdcube, and in Estonian platforms, Funderbeam, Fundwise, we thought it might be too small for us, and we wanted to reach like a different audience in the UK and German audience, where we studied their Seedrs. There were more German audience than in Crowdcube, although Crowdcube seemed to be a little bit bigger, yeah, so at the moment, it just the news came out that they're going to merge Seedrs and Crowdcube, so that now the future future crowdfunding, the planners who are now planning to raise at one of these platforms, they have an easier choice, and so I think it would become a very, very powerful platform. But
it will solve the problem of choice, at least in the one that you were having, right?
Yeah, exactly. Probably there are some other platforms in some geographies, like in Germany and in Austria. I know that there is something, and for us it kind of seemed like a logical step, seeing what other fintechs where they have raised.
So basically, to inform what you were saying, we can say that one thing that a startup considering a platform should look at where the vertical is strong, and it's kind of very similar to accelerator choice.
Yeah, there are like different metrics. You should definitely look how big is the investor base, how much volume they are funding annually, and what kind of investors are there, what kind of other products are on their platform that are similar, and maybe also the timing, if there is some, let's say, a payment provider coming at the same time, or maybe like 2 weeks later when you plan to launch, maybe it makes sense to kind of do it at the same time to attract also these guys who are going to fund a similar or a little bit different vertical. So it's kind of this building the momentum.
Cool. And Rafael?
Yeah, from my side was a little bit different from Marek in terms of the vertical, because we prefer the horizontal approach in terms of potential audience. So we scouted, I remember 2 or 3 platforms, and in Italy the tendency was and is for generalistic solutions, so not with a vertical in fintech or edutech or other solutions. So scouted 2 or 3 platforms, we decide and we chose the platform that guarantee the overall potential audience measure in terms of possible return for our potential investors. So it's connected to the audience.
Cool. And I actually like the part what you, Martin, touched upon was about the business angel syndicates. And I would still think that if the goal is not as ambitious as it was, Marek, in your case, or if the industry is not so specific, then still looking also for kind of local geography, if you're targeting, that still makes sense, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, in the seed stage or like pre-seed stage, I think when your brand is known in one country, I think it's totally makes sense to do the first rounds in your local community and country where you go with a pre-revenue or very, very small revenue company to the UK platform. Nobody knows about you, nobody knows your brand. Then it's I think more tricky. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really could resonate to what you, Martin, said about it's such a hard work. I'm sure I see most of you smiling with me. And I remember I joined Wise Guys team very shortly before we were launching our own equity crowdfunding in Estonia. And I remember that I kind of it definitely was expecting that it would be kind of somehow easier, and that there would be kind of, you open the gates and the investors are like throwing money at you. And also I think we were really, we were kind of, I'm not sure if shocked or surprised, but we realized that we still had to do a lot of very direct hard sales with our own existing or kind of the wishful regular investor audience. Of course, in our case, it was very specific because we were the first accelerator to fundraise for a batch, which probably the regular investors are not used to. But how was this in your experience? How much, for example, the investor base paid off? Was this geographic scope? Did it work? How much work what was the iceberg's invisible side for you?
Yeah, it was quite a lot of preliminary work with our existing investor base. We a couple of weeks before or maybe even more than a month ago, when we had decided that we start the crowdfunding campaign, we said that we are planning to do it, and then 2 weeks before we said that now we're doing it, and then maybe week before we sent the private link, and then I worked through my LinkedIn page, sending the private links, and all the other co-founders did the same. So it's very much of also the personal interaction, and basically it's like. Do you want to miss this opportunity? It's this one-time opportunity where we actually have the legal structure in place. It's very easy. You just open account and transfer the money, and all the rest is done from you. So it's instead of you, yeah. So it's definitely a lot of work, and during the campaign also it's. it's everyday interaction. You have to answer the questions basically the same day or maximum next day, and to not lose the momentum of with a specific investor who had taken the time to actually read your pitch deck and some additional materials you may have provided. Yeah, I mean, every euro was a hard work. It was not like, you know, you lucky to give lucky to that somebody gives you a frozen.
Yeah, this is like reality check for any startup planning a crowdfunding.
Yeah,
it's hard. I wonder how many hours were you sleeping throughout the campaign. We lost Marek. Martin, go.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we slept totally normal hours during the because it was such a long process in that sense. Usually they give you like the platform gives you about like a quarter or 1/3 of the investors. You should like the lead should be like a quarter, and then like you have to kind of impress the other ones in. But it's the same as normal fundraising. You would still have to approach all of these people yourself, and even better if it's with the help of your lead.
And very, very important is you really take time to answer the questions properly. So basically you answer this one person, but then, you know, 200-300 other people are reading these answers, and so you're really like building the credibility with your Q&A, yeah, it's all about transparency there.
I will give floor to Raffaele in a sec, but I was actually wondering how much were you as CEOs doing that, and how much can you rely on the team here, especially in this kind of Q&A and investor relations?
Yeah, we had, of course, we had a couple of key people, like early team members helping me, and then I went through their work before it went live. But yeah, definitely it's a teamwork, and we also very important what we did. We hired the best possible video team actually to do the video. The one who is filming Latitude and some other like very big events. So we had a very nice video and we also. In this video, we had not only me but our CEO Sookael, and then we also asked our people from different countries to say hello and something, you know. So it really created like international experience and like a big team experience that you know, we are really like up to something big. So you really maybe need to make yourself a little bit bigger that you are, but that's a part of it.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the marketing part, especially when you have product crowdfunding. Some people say that kind of you can spend hundreds and thousands actually on the campaign part. Raffaele, how was the unseen part of the iceberg in your case?
Yeah, I want to add, because I definitely agree with Marek and Martin regarding depression and the thrilling part of the campaign regarding the answer, the interaction. And this is our teamwork towards the potential investor. But just to add, from I don't know if is shared with the other countries, from Italian experience, another complex part is connected to the administrative and preparation part for the campaign. So, for example, in Italy, is connected to according to review the company by law, according to in order to respect the compliance to the law in Italian regarding the equity crowdfunding. So it's connected to activity from the governance, activity from the board of meetings, activity from the existing shareholder in order to move towards the equity crowdfunding. So from our experience, this preparation lasts a month, and connected to the campaign and marketing campaign was absolutely another important part that you have to deal with in order to have a success in campaign.
Was it the same case for Marek or Martin with the admin part?
You mean administrating the Q&A and or?
No, it's connected. From our experience, it's connected also to the documentation, the official documentation of the company. So, for example, statute or company by law, shareholder packs, another docs.
Sure. Yeah, the due diligence from the platform side was quite strong. Also, yeah, of course they did a proper legal due diligence that they basically the facilitators, they between investors and the equity raisers. So they want to be sure that that your documentation is in order. That in our case we have 11 companies in the group, so it was we have a holding company and then platform and then daughter companies, different countries. So it was really important them to understand what they really what the investor really gets. And you must really consider that the more complex your structure is, the more time and legal costs you might also have. So that's also important part, the due diligence.
Yeah, well, definitely. Like this, the due diligence and the legal part was this iceberg inside of an iceberg. It's totally crazy because you go in there, you have to set all of your affairs in order, and then you come. Like we came out of that where like now our trade is traded according to the regulation of Singapore. So like lots of documentation on the way and like lots of things that had to happen after each other. Like first, like the campaign is successful, then we wait 1 month for people to transfer the funds. Then after that, we can actually start working with some documents. So for us, we were fortunate enough that we could usually, like the problem is that at the same time you have to make 3 documents that like legally sync with each other. You also have to create a video, or you have to get so usually that's why it's hard. That we were it took us quite some time, but we were eventually got it done. But yeah, it was 2 or 3 months.
And we have a first question coming in from the audience. It's Andrea. Hi, Andrea. He was supposed to be here instead of me, so he's kind of dressed. He's still watching us. That's amazing. That's our colleague and partner in Italy, who is probably right now like feeling like you were feeling during your campaigns, as he's the main person behind our crowdfunding. And he's asking you guys, if you could go back in time, what would you do differently?
Maybe I would have done more preparatory works with my own connections, like LinkedIn connections, and the people that maybe could have invested if I would have been more personally approaching them. But it was already like so much work simultaneously that basically what I did, that I took I have 3,000 something LinkedIn contacts, and out of it I sent maybe to 100 of them the link of the campaign. But maybe if I would have called them or approached maybe more personally, we would have received, I think, more money from our existing the people that would knew me better. But it was just so much going on at the same time that so I would advise to really think of your 50 or 100 the people that would potentially invest, that really take this time and talk to these people more directly. So that I think I would have maybe done differently, and have maybe my team work more on the other stuff. So it's not so personal, because some people would like to talk to founder quite often. That it's not only enough to send the link, but maybe a lunch with somebody or a dinner or a longer phone call would have helped more.
If Cristobal was here, he would say, "Never eat alone, Marek. Never eat alone."
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes, very often, I don't find time to go to lunch anyway.
Eat with your computer. Raffaele?
From my side, if I could, I would reduce the duration of the campaign, because it was on more or less 3 months, but it was too long, because you spend a lot of energy in the first month. Maybe you can we keep the energy in the second month, but 3 months is too long. So in the final part, you risk to not to reply properly to the investors, or to create more negative effect than the opportunity in terms of investors, the duration of campaign. And regarding a specificity of the regulation in Italy, I would prepare better the connection with the professional or institutional investors, because in Italy, regarding the regulation in Italy, you can validate the equity crowdfunding if the 5% of the overall offer is subscribed by official investor, institutional investor like bank, foundation, or other effects. So we arrive at the end on the campaign to reach the institutional investors, and we risked the not validate the overall equity. So it was absolutely days very thrilling in the final day. So if I could come back, I absolutely prepare first of all the relationship with the investors, the institutional investors, before the other type of investors.
Yeah, totally agree. And to have a really like a strong name already who has invested, that definitely helps to boost the campaign. But in our case, we hit the COVID. It was basically everything was standstill already, like 2-3 weeks. And then we thought that, we have like 100K in the bank, what we should do. VCs are not reacting too much because of they just were so shocked also, and concentrated on their existing portfolios. So we just took the risk and made the best out of it. And I think this 1 million now we are very, very happy that in these circumstances, yes, we could do it.
Yeah, when I think back at the process, lots of good memories come to my memory, like how we did this video in 4 days. And we did it in 4 days. It was 4 days. We didn't sleep. We just did it in 4 days. And we got it out. And then it was also like, remember when it was almost there, like we had filled tens of documents and everything. There was just one last document we had to do. But there we had to calculate a lot of like sheer premiums. If anyone has ever done it in long documents, it's pain. So if I think back about all of this, then I'm very happy with the result, and I would not go back.
So you would prefer look forward. Cool. Thanks a lot, Andrea, for the question. And actually, since I have experienced this as part of the company myself, and I'm experiencing second time, I was wondering, like, I feel that it takes guts to do public crowdfunding, because you're out there, like everybody sees. Were you afraid to fail?
I mean, that's our business at EstateGuru, to have 61,000 investors who are looking every day what you're doing, and as they investing money into your loans what to facilitate. So in our case, although I'm quite often a speaker in some fintech conferences, but this was not for me to be in front of investors additionally. It was a step up in terms of do I want to get this publicity? But then I realized that I'm already so exposed anyway. It doesn't make any difference. I mean, you just have to do the best what you can do, and be transparent and honest what you do, and then that's nothing.
So you're like, for a regular startup, your just failure is part of your journey, potential failure. So
yeah,
you're like,
that's also absolutely that of course we have our future plans and our roadmap and so on, and but no, like last years when I pitched to investors, then I'm not too much concentrating. Of course, we also talking about the plans, but But now it's already good that we can say that, see what we have done in the last 6 years and see the metrics we have grown. That and if this is something that that you want to be part of, and we don't have any plans of changing our mentality of growth and how we work and what we aim. So I think that also takes away a little bit this pressure of achieving like 3 times growth. Although VCs very much, they often want 2-3 times, but I say, okay, we've been doing 80%. So if you don't take it, okay, I'm sorry, but we aim to do 2-3 times, but at least, you see that we had done 80%.
Yes, so for us, this campaign was something that we had postponed for some time already, or we wanted to do it before. But you also you can kind of see if there are even before the campaign, you can see if there are investors who are interested into your offer. Practically, you're ready for the campaign if you can already find some people who would kind of go into without the fund reveal campaign. And for us, we had already reached break even, so it wasn't kind of not that scary. And the idea is that the later you raise, the better is your valuation, hopefully. And in our case, it really worked, and we were ready. The metrics were there, and then yes, we were not scared.
Yeah, the valuation justification was also quite. It was quite one of the hardest questions in the sense that, of course, there are different ways to look at always, like who you compare with, and there's no one answer to that. So we consulted to quite many different advisors to have the right metrics comparisons and to publish it. There were some investors maybe thought that it was maybe too much, but on the other hand, we felt very comfortable with that, and we tried to position ourselves in this range. What we got from different KPIs, more like in the lower end, where this this valuation started. As you also considering that it was a COVID kind of situation, so at the moment we started in April, now in the end of October, and since then when we started, our monthly revenues have doubled. So I think it's and also now in Cedars there is a secondary market, and we can see that our shares are trading 20-30% premium. So it's a good sign that people probably are satisfied for now. Hopefully in the future too.
Good to hear, Raffaele.
Yeah, just to add something regarding the relationship with the shareholders and the potential investors. I think that they create the condition to improve your responsibility in terms of the management of the company. So it's absolutely an opportunity. Of course, it's important because I think that it's important metrics, financial KPIs, the evaluation, but at the equity crowdfunding, especially in the seed stage, this is important to reach people that are involved in your project in terms of vision, mission, and the financial KPI arrives after the vision and the qualitative part, especially from our experience with a lot of micro shareholders. They are for us an opportunity to spread out and to enlarge our I can say group of ambassadors. So of course it's important to keep the transparencies in terms of roadmap, plan, negative situation and positive situation, the growth, especially for the crowdfunder. I think this is important. Always keep the attention on the vision part, on the impact part, because they are in many cases they are not professional investors.
Yeah,
so it's important to connect the qualitative part with, of course, the growth overall. Invest for obtain a return, of course.
Yeah.
It's obvious, but it's important also the magic, the value that you want to give to the people, and the value you want to give to the people, you improve your responsibility in terms of the management of the overall company.
Yeah, totally align and agree that the big picture is really, really important, and it's a journey, and where actually the people would put their small amounts to be part of it. That's the key part. But I guess the bigger the amounts are going, the more it's the financial part also they want to be comfortable with. Yeah.
Good. I think we're like reaching the Wednesday evening kind of energy span, and I would love to finish in the upcoming, let's say, 5 to 10 minutes. A reminder to the audience, for those who are listening, if you have any question you want to drop for this amazing panel here, you can use the comments on the social media. So be it Facebook, be it YouTube, right, Louise? I'm looking at you as I'm not sure if I'm naming everything correctly. So if you ask, we see it here and we can address it. In the meantime, I had a question towards you guys. How difficult was and where did you find your lead investor? Because I assume for all of you, before you jumped into the campaign, you actually had to either kind of show this kind of pre-committed investment. And Marek, I think you already mentioned that there was a role in that later on, or am I mixing you guys? So how was it?
Actually, we didn't have the lead investor. We just started to market our campaign to our investor base, but there was no lead investor actually. Yeah, so we managed to close it without it, but it would have been definitely much more easier if some well-known name would have put the first seed. But as we were in this beginning of COVID situation, it was kind of would have been, I guess, too much energy to find it, or no, maybe it was, yeah, it just went so that we had, of course, one thing was that Speed Invest became our seed investor invested into our seed round, 1 million in 2018, and we marketed. And we used also one of the Speed Invest people in the video saying that Speed Invest invested in previous round. So in this sense, yeah, we had a kind of lead from 2 years ago, or kind of referral. But in this round, we purely did it 100% crowdfunding.
Yeah, from my side, this is connected to the overall process, because the equity crowdfunding was in the middle from the business angel part, the impact fund part. So we opened the overall raise 6 months, more or less 6 months before the equity crowdfunding. So we had the time to create the pre-commitment of our lead investor. So when we opened the equity crowdfunding, we already reached the lead investor. So create the I can say the tail effect, the okay effect. So you have already reached 1 to 3 people with consistency in terms of money. So absolutely, for us, it was important. This is connected to the overall process.
Martin, do I remember correctly that in Funderbeam you actually had to have a lead investor already when entering the campaign, or not?
Yeah. So in kind of like it's in, I think it's kind of like if you only read about startups from the news, then you think that it goes kind of like that you go to a pitching competition where everybody is pitching their good ideas, and then this investor comes and gives you money, and then everything is good already. Unicorns. But in reality, my experience is that I go to these pitching competitions, and then in this pitching competition I meet somebody. I talk and he likes my idea, and then 2 or 3 years go by, and then they maybe invest. and like because like these processes take time, and this is exactly how I met our lead Kaspar Hanni. It's like some ages ago in this Estonian Business Angels network group. But then he was already like at one point he was an existing investor in our company, and it's considered really important that it would be like somebody who has already existed. This is like it creates much more like this belief into the company, and for us this was crucial, the cooperation with our leads. He sent the material to other angel investors, and so this one actually helped us to go fast, like from the initial 10, 20 to 30, 40, 50% funded within the first day. And that kind of helped to create the initial traction. But he also pushed this roadmap of things for us. That then if you're doing crowdfunding, ask for the general roadmap of the things, what would happen in what order, like just in the beginning. First there's the valuation, then there's the due till, then you have to do the campaign management. It all takes time. So he really pushed us to it, and during the period, cooperation with the leads and the platform is like totally crucial. It was just like not every day, but practically every week there was something going on, because you will always find like these special things.
Yeah, cool. And I was actually just remembered what Rafael, you said about what you would kind of change, or what was the difficulty about the length of the program, the campaign. And I remember I actually was surprised when we started our Italy campaign. I guess it's like a standard in the market that you do it for like extension of 3 months. In Funderbeam, if I remember correctly, we did it over 1 month, and I already felt that was a very long process, because there was this jump in the beginning. We also fundraised very well in the first 1 and 2 days. Like I think kind of majority of the fund actually was raised then. Then there was like total silence in between. We were all like, tearing our hair and like, oh my God, what should we do? What should we do? And then there was an epic jump at the last, I would say, even less than 24 hours. So we kind of very clearly saw this kind of death valley in between. And I definitely was surprised when I heard that our Italy campaign is going to take 3 months. And I was asking our colleague Andreas, like, does it really make sense? But maybe a bit, what was the pulse of your campaigns? Kind of what did you saw in this kind of, was there spikes? What was the dynamic?
I think
sorry, Marek. From my side, it is absolutely connected to the energy that you can push in the campaign. So of course you prepare the campaign, and in the first days you can convert your previous work in the previous month, and then because of course you are in one platform with the other project, with the other rolling project. So of course you can maintain the peak in terms of attention for weeks, but not for months. So even in our campaign, we have this effect from the peak in the beginning, low energy in the middle, and peak in the end. And that's why I think that 3 months is too long. But from another side, if you think about the crowdfunding campaign as a huge opportunity for us seed startups to push your marketing, your branding, your positioning, you can also accept the low part, but using this part in terms of communication. That was our approach. So in the middle of time, between the beginning and the end, we absolutely use all channels, press office or digital channels, our website, in order to reinforce our positioning, our branding. So could be another side, positive side from a negative approach in terms of the duration of the process.
Yeah, totally. I agree. I think it's the dynamics is I think pretty much the same. Usually that it's a big peak in the beginning and death valley in the middle. In our case, it was we had this private link for our existing investor base. So when we went live, it was already like 30% funded. Then it went live. Then it reached like first day the minimum target, and then and then in the meanwhile, like this 2-3 weeks, there's some certain packages that you can order from seeders. They also think how to make extra money, even though you have agreed maybe 3-4%, but in the end it turns out to be 7% of your total funding. So so you can order different PR activities from them, and also I think we had some press release every week about our improvements, and then constantly keeping up the Q&A session, having profound answers, and trying to keep your potential investors hot, like who are still thinking if they would do or not do. You have to kind of provide some extra comfort during this midterm, and in the end of when the campaign is starting to end, then you have to basically drag these guys who are still between to really make this final step. And I think it should be a pretty common kind of dynamics with all the crowdfunding campaigns.
Martin?
So for us, it was like, this was like for the campaign when it was actually supposed to be live. This was one social media campaign that we were really prepared for. We had and I think you should also have 3, 4, 5 posts ready that you're gonna be talking about why you're doing it and why it's really important. And then the campaign went up, and we got to 300,000 euros indicated within the first 24 hours. So we also immediately shut it down, because for us it was we were pretty much raising funding specifically for we had these targets of Latvia and Finland, and we couldn't even for us we consider 1,000 euros a lot of money, not to say 100,000 euros. So we knew that with this funding we can do stuff in Latvia and Finland. We could take more money, but then we wouldn't be sure if we can actually make it in Poland, and then we would be kind of wasting 100K more, and that was kind of, we didn't want to do it. So we just did it, and then practically when our campaign went down and people started to transfer the funding, then the countries already started to lock the borders. And so, but fortunately for us, there was only about 15% of drop-off of people who initially indicated, and then they didn't transfer the fund. That was actually, this is also one interesting thing to know, is that this is actually quite normal, that there is this about 10-15% of drop-off of people who actually don't pay, although they indicate.
But actually, this is an interesting point where I see the difference, at least for the crowdfunding platform that we're using in Italy, that there is no kind of, in Funderbeam, I think it's kind of split, that you can commit and then you actually transfer the money later. Right now in the campaign that we are having, it's you commit when you transfer the money. So there is no of this kind of hey, where's my money? And this drop rate, which I can honestly say also was a surprise to us. Raffaele, is that the case overall in Italian market? Is that kind of specific? And I'm wondering also, Marek, how is it in Seeders?
Yeah, it was the same actually, that you at first you can reserve kind of your position, and then you have time to make the transfer, and I think when the campaign officially kind of ended, then they still kept it open for a couple of days to make the last transfers. So yeah, it was the same.
Raffaele?
Yeah, from Italy the same. In our experience, we had just with 106 subscription to 102 conversions. So 4 people decide to drop off. But also in Italy, they have the opportunity to, of course, change idea.
Awesome. We have almost been talking for a full hour. I don't know about you. I have a glass of wine waiting for me right here. So I will be finishing off with the last question, unless somebody magically lightning speed drops us a question in the social media. And my question is something that we at Wise Guys really believe in hands-on and advice, and we see that how this community of our alumni can help. And let's use this opportunity here as well. So I would invite all of you one by one, share something that if you met a founder who is kind of hey, I'm considering crowdfunding, or you met yourself, right? Martin, you don't look back, you look forward. But basically, kind of, what would be your advice to the person, to a founder considering public crowdfunding?
No, my advice would be at first to understand who you want to be your investors. If you're targeting if your product is B2C, like you have a lot of retail customers, then definitely crowdfunding is a good idea to go to. If you're developing some product that is meant to very specific area to have a B2B customer, where the retail investors are usually the retail investors in the crowdfunding. For them, they see they read your pitch. They could they maybe don't relate to so much if they would be the actual user of your product. So then I would rather talk to angel investors, and maybe just to supplement crowdfunding and just to put the minimum target very low. And anyhow, I would put the minimum target. If you plan to raise 500,000, put your minimum target 100,000 or 150,000. Yeah, you can always oversubscribe. Very very dangerous is to put it too high, and then you don't reach it, and then everything fails. And so yeah, put your minimum target low, and understand your target group, and work with your target group. Don't assume that the platform is bringing you investors. They're bringing only maybe 50% of your investors. The other 50% is up to your network and your existing base.
Awesome, and we can also infer that crowdfunding is not for every business, and the more geekier, the more techy, the more specific target audience you're aiming at, the less you probably should be considering that, right?
Yeah.
From my side, just to add, my advice was this: to evaluate your pre-existing community, your network, to evaluate if you could spend time for the preparation, if you have time to preparation, and the final part, especially if you think to raise with equity crowdfunding in Europe, I think this is important, your stage. So evaluate your stage of the company in connection with the campaign, because sometimes connected to the stage, especially above the seed part, you can use other tools, other solution apart from the crowdfunding.
Martin?
So, like, I see so many guys who say that they need to raise like 200,000 and like to make their website. You don't really need 200,000 to make your website. It's much cheaper. You're asking for too much. Ask less money. Forget the idea of rounds. If somebody, like usually in the fundraising process, it goes like that you see an investor, you talk with him, and at one point when he's happy with it, he says, okay, he's in, and he asks, when is the round? Say the round is right now, and send him your convertible note template. And this is like, if you raise smaller rounds, you can actually take new investors in one by one, and you can kind of get to know each other and understand each other better and develop this partner relationship. And also, hopefully, your valuation will be better later.
So you just hacked the fundraising process right now entirely.
You're raising now. Maybe you can send me a pitch deck. And
I would say just like this, with one sentence, like crowdfunding is like, it's if you can like kind of predict if somebody will be successful of it or not, is that if there are actually like normal investors who want to come into the company anyway. So practically for us, it was we had already like 30-40K committed, but we just couldn't get the big round together. And so, but if there must be one normal investor who is willing to give you ready, otherwise the people in internet also will not.
Yeah, I'm tempted to have a wine joke and say, so you're saying they're like normal investors, and then we have the others. Yeah, but actually, Marek, you invested in one of the portfolio companies right after the Startup Wise Guys getaway, if I remember correctly, or at least you were into conversations.
Yes, I think I have invested in your fund and also in one company. So
Yeah, I'm just about your joke. So Martin, Marek, you should connect, see and grab an investor. Awesome. I think on this note and full hour speaking with you. Thanks so much for openness. Thanks for being also very realistic and maybe in some areas critical. I think we all need that a bit of grain of salt on things and not expecting rainbows and unicorns flying around the moment we launch our campaign that we are so proud of, right? For those, so Martin is always ready for investors, right? So whoever is interested in
this is actually like it's actually just like one of the, just to close up what has been like one of the things I didn't figure about when I started the process is that in Funderbeam platform there is actually a stock price. And CostPocket actually has a stock, and it's so interesting to learn about the stock market, because it's kind of like the platform it's not a full stock market, but it's very similar thing, and it's very little, and you can see like the little things, how little things affect how the stock price is working. So in this sense, this is just magnificent thing to learn, and you can get I think you can get the CostPocket stock for $6 from there already today. So.
So you can get EstateGuru and see you can get CostPocket and Wise Guys on Funderbeam secondary market. Rafael, are you also still on the market with the shares with the platform you were using?
Yeah. And this is and now we are preparing another campaign, but not equity crowdfunding, but just on round A. So in the next month should be for us another challenging time. Yeah, finger crossed.
Totally, and as I already said, as we have full-blown advertising break at the end of this panel, so for anyone who is looking into investment in a fund, so Wise Guys Italy is still in full bloom on CrowdFundMe platform. Andrea, who was already commenting on Facebook, he's the person to go to if you have any questions about it, and we're also fundraising for bigger funds, but they are not open for smaller investors. We keep it for the big tickets, and yeah, keep an eye on these three companies. So LifeFeed, EstateGuru, and CostPocket if you're into investment. Thanks so much. Get some food, get a glass of wine. I will finish mine. And thanks everyone for watching. And Rafael and Martin, Marek and Louise for joining me here tonight. Till some next talks from Wise Guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.